Okay, ready to dive into something pretty cool. We're ditching those kitty paint by numbers today and talking about a career path that's honestly way more intricate than I ever thought possible, decorative painting.
Yeah, it's not just slapping on some pretty colors. We've got RoleCatcher's career guide right here, plus a look at their job hunting tools, and it's amazing how much more goes into it.
Seriously, way more than I expected. I went in thinking, okay, you need artistic talent, sure. But their guide breaks it down from entry level to senior painter, and wow, the skill you need change completely as you move up.
It's like you start mastering brushstrokes, right?
Yeah.
But by the time you're senior, you're basically running a whole business. Projects, budgets, maybe even a team of painters reporting to you.
That's wild. So it's not just being good with a brush, it's being a manager, a marketer, almost an entrepreneur. Did that surprise you?
Totally. What really got me was RoleCatcher's focus on portfolio building. Even for something so hands-on, they say 67% of the role is sales and marketing skills. I never would have guessed.
It's like you could make the most amazing mural ever, but if nobody sees it,
Yeah.
and they give you the tools, websites, platforms, even art competitions to get your work out there.
Huge shift, right? Even artists need a strong online presence these days.
Yeah.
And speaking of shifts, let's talk about those career stages. You mentioned the skills changing. How do things look different in the real world at each level?
Okay, so imagine you're starting out, maybe assisting a pro. RoleCatcher calls this entry level. It's all about absorbing the fundamentals, learning paint types, practicing techniques, maybe even prepping surfaces, real behind the scenes stuff.
They have these sample profiles in the guide, super insightful. One junior painter said getting certified in advanced decorative techniques, that was key why for moving up. It's not just on-the-job learning, you're actively boosting your credentials.
Perfect for people who love to learn. But let's say you put in the time, got those certs, you're a junior painter now. What changes?
This is where you go from assisting to creating, working directly with clients, taking their ideas and turning them into, well, decorative masterpieces.
No pressure. Right. I bet the guide emphasizes precision, a good eye for detail at this level.
Absolutely. You're expected to nail those complex designs, mix paints perfectly, that kind of thing. But they also highlight organization, time management, essential for any professional, really.
For sure. No more leaving brushes to soak in the sink. But you've conquered junior painter. You're a total rock star. Senior level. What's that like?
You become the leader, basically. Think
Yeah.
overseeing other painters, running entire projects from A to Z, maybe even mentoring those junior painters we talked about. You're conducting the decorative orchestra.
And that needs a whole different skill set. Not just an artist anymore, but a mentor, a manager, keeping budgets in check. Talk about well-rounded.
Exactly. You need that business sense to really make it as a senior decorative painter. And that's what struck me, this blend of artistry and business.
Right. Almost like two separate careers becoming one. You're creative, but also strategic, organized, even a bit of a salesperson when you pitch ideas or work out contracts.
Exactly. And speaking of navigating the professional world, let's dive into the part that often feels more like a chore than an art form, the job hunt.
Ugh, tell me about it. But thankfully, a role catcher doesn't just drop you off after all that career advice. They've got a bunch of tools to make the job search, dare I say, enjoyable.
Well, maybe not enjoyable, but definitely less scary. What I find really cool is how they use AI. They have this thing called RoleCatcher Capture. You can save jobs from tons of job boards, even the big ones like LinkedIn and Indeed.
Okay, so kind of like bookmarking dream jobs, but I'm guessing it's way more than that?
Way more. It puts all those opportunities in one place so you can keep track easily. You see what you've applied for, manage everything without a million tabs open. Way less overwhelming.
Oh, that's genius. I feel calmer just hearing about it. But let's talk applications themselves. Crafting the perfect CV or resume feels like its own art form.
And that's where RoleCatcher shines. They have this feature. It analyzes your CV, compares it to what the job description actually wants. Like having a personal recruiter highlighting areas you might tweak or play up.
Okay, that's a game changer. Especially now, with all these companies using automated systems to weed out applications, it's like you need to speak robot before a human even sees your resume.
Totally. And RoleCatcher helps you do just that. They'll even suggest tailoring your CV for different jobs so you have a better chance of getting noticed and, more importantly, getting an interview.
Like they've figured out the secret code to get your foot in the door. But what about once you've got their attention? Let's talk interviews, because if there's one thing that terrifies me.
Don't worry, RoleCatcher has your back. They've got a database of, get this, over 120,000 practice interview questions, all specific to different careers and skills.
Wait, 120,000? Seriously, that's like every interview question ever asked. Talk about being prepared.
Right. But it's not just memorizing answers. They help you understand what interviewers actually want to hear, so you can craft responses that show off your skills and experience, authentically.
Like having a secret weapon for confidence going into that interview room.
Exactly. And if you go for their fancier subscription, the RoleCatcher Copilot AI, it gets even cooler. They give you personalized feedback on your practice sessions, even analyze your videos so you see how you come across.
Whoa, next level. They're practically reading the interviewer's mind at this point. But before we get totally lost in AI and job hunting tricks, let's come back to the heart of it, the art of decorative painting itself.
Absolutely, because while having the right tools and knowing how to play the game is important, at the end of the day, it's the passion, the talent that really brings a decorative painter's work to life.
It's that human touch, taking a blank canvas and making something totally unique. And that's something we'll explore more after the break. It's funny, we're talking AI, job applications, all this business stuff, but I keep thinking about the visuals, the actual decorative painting. Time to geek out a bit about the techniques.
Right. And RoleCatcher gets into it. They really
Yeah.
do. The way they break down stenciling, that's cool. It's not just those simple shapes, like you'd use with kids.
Yeah, I was picturing those basic stencils. Got to be more to it for professionals, right?
Way more. Imagine you've got this intricate stencil, maybe a floral design or something. You layer it with different colors, textures, even some freehand stuff. Suddenly you've got this depth, this totally unique piece.
So the stencil's like a starting point, then the artist takes over to make it really special. That's awesome.
Exactly. That's where you need both precision and creativity. And speaking of creativity, freehand painting. That's where those amazing one-of-a-kind designs happen.
That's the one I'm always blown away by. You need such confidence in your hand, your brush strokes. It's almost magical.
It really is. And the guide makes a point of saying, even pros never stop practicing their freehand. Always refining, pushing boundaries, experimenting with different brushes, paint types. It's cool.
We think of decorative painting as this very traditional thing, but you mentioned tech earlier. Is there any tech-driven stuff emerging in this field?
Totally. One that's getting big, especially with fabrics, is digital printing. You get these super intricate patterns, perfect precision, printed right onto the material.
Oh, wow. That changes everything. Imagine curtains, upholstery, clothes even, with those kinds of designs.
Exactly. Endless possibilities. And there's the technique that's all about illusion. Faux finishes.
Oh, yeah. Faux finishes. Always fun when you realize something's not what it looks like. Like, wait, that's not marble. It's just really good paintwork. Love that.
Right. Turning a plain wall into marble, or getting that aged wood look with just paint. That's the magic of it.
Like having a superpower. Making ordinary things extraordinary. But it's not just about looks, is it?
Good point. It's practical, too. You want the marble look without the cost or weight. Faux finishes are your answer. Or maybe you want to warm up a modern space, give it that wood grain feel.
Artist and problem solver, all in one. The guide also talked about understanding different materials. You're not always working with canvas. It could be wood, ceramic, even glass, right?
And every material is different. Different paint, different techniques. You need to know what'll stick, what'll give the right look, and last. It gets pretty scientific.
It's amazing how even in something so creative, there's all this technical stuff you need to know. Jack of all trades, for sure.
Totally. But we can't forget the human element. RoleCatcher gives the roadmap, the tools, but it's the individual, the artist, who makes it happen.
So true. What makes a truly great decorative painter, in your opinion?
Well, besides the artistry itself, communication is huge. You're working with clients, so you need to get their vision, make it a design, and manage expectations the whole way through.
Right, because creating something amazing in your studio is one thing, but working with a client who has their own ideas is a whole different ballgame.
Exactly. You need to be diplomatic, patient, guide them, but also be open to their input. It's a balancing act, but when it works, it's a really collaborative, satisfying thing.
A true partnership. Speaking of which, back to RoleCatcher for a sec, they have a whole career coaching aspect too, right?
Yeah. Their career compass thing is awesome. Even if you're just curious about this field, it's like if you're thinking about decorative painting, this helps you see what's out there, if your skills match up, that kind of thing.
Like they're saying, hey, maybe you're not quitting your day job just yet, but come explore a bit, see what it's all about. Love that.
Me too. And there's more. They've got tons of resources, articles, videos, even connections to professional development stuff. It's there to support you no matter where you are in your journey.
Wow, they really do cover it all. But you know what's funny? We've talked about all these resources, but at the end of the day, it's the actual doing, the creating that's so cool.
Absolutely. There's just something so therapeutic, so rewarding about taking a brush and transforming something with your own hands.
Yeah.
Challenging, but so fulfilling.
And that feeling, you can't get that from an app. It's that personal connection to the craft. But before I get too sappy, let's switch gears a bit and talk about the rewards beyond just the artistic side.
You mean like the actual career part, the money, the lifestyle?
Exactly. Let's be real. We got to pay those bills. But I imagine for a decorative painter, the rewards go way beyond just a paycheck, right?
Oh, for sure. RoleCatcher actually dedicated a whole section to this, and it's really eye-opening. Like, they have interviews with successful painters talking about what they love most about their jobs.
Okay, spill the tea. What are they saying? What makes all those long hours and paint-splattered clothes worth it?
Well, one thing that came up a lot was the flexibility. A lot of decorative painters are freelancers, which means they set their own hours, choose their projects.
Okay, that's the dream for so many people. But I imagine it takes a certain personality type to thrive in that kind of environment. You're not just answering to a boss, you're managing your own time, finances, client relationships.
Right, you got to be disciplined, organized, able to roll with the punches.
Yeah.
There will be demanding clients, unexpected problems, those dry spells where the projects just aren't coming in.
It's that freedom comes with responsibility kind of deal, right? But for those who can handle it, the rewards sound incredible, not just financially, but that feeling of being your own boss.
Totally. And because you're often dealing directly with clients, there's this real sense of satisfaction when you see their faces light up after you've transformed their space.
Oh, I bet. It's like you're not just painting walls, you're creating experiences, memories even. That's got to be incredibly rewarding.
It really is. And because every project is unique, you're constantly challenged to learn new things, experiment with different techniques. It keeps things interesting, you know?
Definitely not your average 9 to 5. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, the financial side. RoleCatcher. Do they give any insights into earning potential?
They do. And it varies wildly, as you might imagine. Experience level, location, even your specialty. Like if you're a whiz with faux finishes, you might be able to command higher rates. But one thing they emphasized, and this is crucial, is the importance of knowing your worth.
Yes. Don't be afraid to charge what you're worth. But figuring that out can be tricky, especially when you're starting out. Any tips from the RoleCatcher experts?
They actually have a whole section on pricing strategies, which is super helpful. They talk about researching industry standards in your area, factoring in your experience and overhead costs, even negotiating contracts like a pro.
It's like they've thought of everything. But, you know, even with all the practical advice in the world, I think there's something to be said for following your passion, even if it means taking a bit of a risk.
100%. And that's something that really resonated with me in these sources. The idea that this career path is as much about heart as it is about skill. You have to love the process, the challenges, even the messy bits to truly thrive as a decorative painter.
So well said. And on that note, we'll have to wrap up our deep dives into the world of decorative painting. But hey, maybe this is just the beginning for some of our listeners.
Who knows, maybe we've inspired a few budding artists to pick up a brush and unleash their creativity.
And if you do, we want to hear all about it. Share your decorative painting journeys with us on social media. So we've talked about the passion, the skills, what you need to know, but what's it really like being a decorative painter? Those moments that make it all worth it.
You know, reading these stories from actual painters, one thing kept coming up. That feeling when you totally transform a space. That's what it's all about.
That before and after, right? You walk into a room, it's blah, maybe a little ugly. Then bam, your work gives it life, personality. Must be so rewarding.
Oh, absolutely. Creating something beautiful. Totally unique. And it's not just about the client being happy, though. That's huge. A lot of painters talked about the satisfaction of the creative process itself, you know.
Makes sense. You're always growing, trying new things, surprising yourself with what you can do.
Exactly. And let's not forget the entrepreneurial side. Many of these folks are their own bosses, setting their hours, picking their projects, building a business they love.
Okay, now that's the dream, right? But it takes someone to thrive like that. You're not just clocking in, you're managing everything.
You got it. Discipline, organization, and you got to be able to handle curveballs, demanding clients, unexpected problems, even times when there's no work coming in. That's got to be tough.
Freedom means responsibility, huh? But if you can hack it, sounds like the rewards are huge. And not just the money, that feeling of being your own creative director.
Exactly. And this is key. RoleCatcher really pushes this. Never stop learning. Decorative painting's always changing new trends, new techniques, new materials all the time.
So you're never really done, are you? Always got to be curious, trying things out, maybe taking a class here and there to stay sharp. Yeah.
100%. The guy wasn't just about the basics. It was about this mindset of always growing, no matter what you do. That's true for any career, honestly.
So true. It's that journey of discovery, those moments when you nail a new technique or figure out a tricky design. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. And those moments, that's what makes all the hard work, all the
Yeah.
challenges, totally worth it. And who knows, maybe someday you're the one mentoring, sharing what you've learned with a new generation.
Now, that's a beautiful thought, passing that creative spark along.
Exactly. And that's what makes this field so special. It's not just paint and brushes, it's the human connection, the passion, the power of art to transform things.
Well said. And on that note, we'll have to wrap up our deep dive into the world of decorative painting. It's been a colorful journey.
We covered a lot, but hopefully now you have a better sense of what makes this career so unique and rewarding.
And whether you're an artist yourself or just someone who loves seeing a space come alive with color and design, remember, there's a whole world of creativity out there waiting for you to discover it. So keep those creative sparks flying, and we'll see you on our next deep dive.